Injuries happen for one of two reasons, especially in golf. The first one is your brain's uncomfortable with the situation going on and it's trying to figure out, is this actually going to hurt me, or is this something I just need to worry about and here's some pain? So that's what I see in the office most of the time, is this neurologic pain sensation where your brain's trying to process bad information. It doesn't know how to deal with it. So it says, I don't like this, here's some pain, go figure it out. And this is usually what happens when people have that tightness that comes on, pain that comes on for a couple hours, then they rest for a little bit, it calms down, and then it's just that cycle over and over and over again. The second type of pain, which I think is more important to understand and why I focus so much on dysfunction and compensation, is the overloading of certain tissues. That tissue does not have the capacity to actually perform the task at hand. We'll take the low back again. If your low back only has a certain job. It is to be fairly stable. It doesn't rotate much. It's really made for flexion extension. And if your hips are tight and you don't know how to control that rotation through the hips and the thoracic spine, now you're forcing the low back to start rotating. Your brain doesn't like that. It's not built for it. It doesn't have the capacity for it. And now it starts to tighten up because your brain says, screw you, I don't like this. The back doesn't move that way. And most tissue injuries, let's say hamstring strain, really any sort of strain, even joint sprains, that area doesn't have the capacity. So if you roll your ankle, you step off a curb, roll your ankle, yes, it's gonna hurt. But if you trained your brain in those situations, if you showed your brain that you can actually move through that range of motion safely, the chances for a serious injury drastically go down. That's why I spend so much time on control around ranges of motion with my patients. If you don't have control of good hip and internal external rotation, when you go to use it in the golf swing and you're forcing it, your brain's not gonna like it. It's going to put the brakes on, it's going to make it tighter because it doesn't know how to actually use that range of motion. So when I say capacity, it's usually strength, range of motion, and stability. If you don't have a capacity above what you're doing, so in a golf swing, you need to be able to create a lot of force, a lot of speed in a very short amount of time. So we need a very large capacity. Then your brain's gonna freak out. It's gonna say, screw you, here's pain, stiffness, tightness, that off sensation around joints. We wanna make sure that we're training this capacity in both a rehab setting and a strength setting, because if you're not strong enough to produce the force, your body's again gonna put the brakes on, stiffness, tightness, pain, discomfort. When we look at training it, we have to start with the foundations. It has to be a very wide base, so general fitness, I'm gonna call it general rehab, that is covering your current ranges of motion, current strength capacities, and you are slowly building that up over time. If you're going to straight from, I don't do anything, I just sit at a desk for 8 to 10 hours a day, and maybe work out 3 times a week, and you're starting to do rotational power stuff, you're starting to do explosive work, well, now the base of your pyramid is very, very small, and you are adding a ton of height to it. So eventually it's going to topple over. We want to make sure that we have general strength. Can you squat your body weight? Can you deadlift ideally 1.5 times your body weight for 1 to 3 reps? Can we do 10 push-ups? Can we do 5 pull-ups? So this general stuff gives us a framework to build power and explosiveness off of. If you don't have any of that, if you can't do a body weight lunge for 5 reps and you're wobbling and you're sore afterwards, well, you've got huge room for gains just by doing the general strength work. But if you can do that, and then you can do half your body weight in each hand for 6 to 8 reps for a lunge on both sides, and it's pretty even both sides, well, now we've got this base that we can actually produce force to create power. So looking at why injuries happen, It always comes down to capacity and how your brain is assessing the situation. So we need to make sure that we have the required ranges of motion, the strength, the control for whatever task you're doing. It might be bending over, pick up a box, it could be swinging a golf club, could be running a marathon. It doesn't really matter. We need to make sure we have the capacity for it. Do we have the strength? Do we have the range of motion? Do we have the control under endurance, the stability? And does our brain feel safe doing it? If I do 100 push-ups and my shoulder starts freaking out, well, it didn't feel safe doing it because I didn't have the capacity for it. So that's how they're one and the same to some degree, but making sure that you are building a foundation so that the brain feels safe will help you get to the next level. It'll help actually build some resiliency throughout the body because you're going to be doing things within your current capacity, but also starting to challenge it. And that's how we're going to get stronger, more resilient, and how we're going to stay safer longer on the golf course.